Welcome to Dr. Morse's YouTube channel. Have a question? Send it to questions@naturesbotanicalpharmacy.com. Visit us online, drmorsesherbalhealthclub.com.
Morning, everyone. It's a pleasure always to spend time with you, always, especially on this wayward planet of who knows where, stuck in some galaxy far, far away. So I hope you're all doing well. I keep getting all great reports. Some you guys are just really kicking it up. Got a gentleman in here, ALS. I mean, he's pulling himself right out of that. Advanced stages. It's amazing to see what you guys are doing with yourselves, and it just proves what we've been teaching here is truth. I've experienced it through the years. Now you guys are experiencing it, and you're having others getting well. You see how this is multiplying out there? All you guys are helping your friends getting well, and they're helping their friends. I'm telling you, it's just incredible to see the wellness journey. Got a lot of work, a lot of sick people, a lot of genetic weaknesses, stuff like that. But if we just relax, make fun out of this, make it a fun journey as much as you can. Detach yourself from your physical body. Don't get so caught up in your desires of materialistic things, and keep yourself free. You know, it's a good time. Right now is a tough time on this planet, and keeping yourself free and detached from things is a good way to be, you know. Keeps your spirituality up and stuff. So, I think this is going to be more questions and answers because you got so many of them poured over my... I took a week off, went up into Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I like to go up to the little party town of Gatlinburg and get in a cabin and relax a little bit. Cool. It was in the 50s. That felt good a little bit, you know. All right, let's look through this. This is Oliver. Hey, Oliver. I'm trying to get rid of my chronic acne. You know, there's so many of these questions and so many of these individuals that have chronic acne, cystic acne, psoriasis. And just remember, even though some people might take a little longer in dealing with this, this is a deep issue. Because when you look at the skin and the layers of the skin and you get down into what's called the subcutaneous, this is tied directly to your lymph system, to the lymph nodes. So this is a big deal. And so when you see anything going on with the skin, you want to immediately think kidneys. Immediately, because this is your third kidney. This is your largest eliminative organ you have. The skin is an organ, a breathing organ. And so it's made of cells like every other organ and gland in the body. And it has blood and lymph as part of its mixture because, again, cells all need to be fed, cells all need to be cleaned, eliminating their wastes and byproducts. The problem with that, generally the skin cleans itself pretty good. The gases are vaporized from the skin, things like that. You see that all the time, of course. But when those kidneys, the two main kidneys, don't filter, the burden lies on the skin. If it's an overburden where the diet's full of dairy products and yogurts and things that are very mucus forming, then this is an extra burden on the human body, added to the fact that the kidneys are not filtering well, and you particularly see more skin problems in the youth. And you see so much of it now. And it's sad, Oliver, but I'll tell you, do not give up and do not stop. Now, I addressed some of this on that last video that I did, but I was talking about Shannon and stuff, and do not give up because it's just a matter of digging in and cleaning it. If your skin isn't clear, you're not clean. It's that simple. And that means you have acids in the body that can do harm to cells. And so this is seriously about getting your kidneys to filter. This is a big deal on YouTube. You guys are holding the light, the flag, the sword, the golden sword of truth, and you guys are putting it out there. And the reality is the reality here. You must eliminate byproducts and waste, not just from digesting your foods, but from the cells that are also digesting your foods, so to speak. So you've got a lot of waste and byproducts to get rid of. It isn't just a nutritional experience having a human body. It's an eliminative experience as well. And for so long, a lot of the health modalities, if you can call some of them that, focused on the nutritional side of it, and some wacky so. You know, nutrition really isn't the the big deal of nature. If you look at nature, and I watch nature programs all the time, and you get some semblance of how little animals do eat, that some animals eat once every week, some even once every month. I think there was a snake once a year or once every 6 months. I mean, it's amazing. And they don't have a lot of different forms of food. You attack an animal, you eat it, boom. So we have this false sense of health and nutrition and things, and so now we have nutritionists and things like this. The problem is that their focus is totally wrong, because they're based and steeped upon the American Dietetics Association. That association should have been dismantled a long time ago, because it has done nothing but led man down to the sickville, hellville instead of wellville. And so these sort of associations and things that are dark agey stuff, time for them to leave the planet, and those guys find something else to do. Tired of hurting people and getting bad karma. Everything's karma driven. Remember that. Even though at one level there's no such thing. So just remember this, Oliver and everyone else out there that deals with any skin issues. Now you can use salt baths, salt water, jump in the ocean, things like this to help, because it's an alkalizing experience. And so, of course, acne, anything like that's an acid experience. It's that simple. Only two sides of chemistry. Which one are you going to play on? If you play on the acid side, it won't take you long to understand. Like, for an example, if you can get a friend or someone to go 2 weeks, say, or 1 month on a raw food diet, half fruit, half vegetables, I don't care. And then have them go eat their normal food, maybe McDonald's or maybe a steak or maybe just Italian or whatever, and then let them experience what they're going to experience with it. Because let me tell you, this is self-perpetuating. Once you start to realize how good you feel on the raw and the living, then going back is a trip. You go back for balance, go back to deal with the mind and things like this, but the body doesn't want to go back. And so it'll beat you up, quite a bit. But everyone that has skin problems has high acidosis. This is the lymphatic system. The skin is very much a part of the lymphatic system. And that's why having a good thyroid, checking your basal temperatures under your arm, having at least 97.8 or up in the upper 97s, low 98s, enough to sweat. Get yourself sweating. Even though when you start out on these programs, sometimes your skin can look worse. And that's because you're shaking the tree, man. It's common sense. When you start cleaning, things are starting to be expectorating, starting to move out of the body, not staying in. That's medical thinking, suppression. We don't suppress, inhibit anything. Because in doing that, you're walking yourself into nightmare worlds. And that's what they're doing to people. So really here, you want to expectorate, eliminate. And sometimes elimination has its up and down. Sometimes you see rashes all over the skin. Your psoriasis looks worse. Your eczema looks worse. Things can look worse because you're now opening those. Those are the doorways. And those doorways have been blocked. And now you're opening them. And so you're going to be expectorating more acid. So you can expect to see things go up and down with this. And if you have a lot of subcutaneous lymphatic stagnation, it can be a while. So getting everything open, getting the thyroid up, getting fresh air so you can get the gases out properly, oxygenation of the body, deep breathing, stretching, things like this. Focusing on botanicals, getting your kidneys to filter. These are all essential. Getting that GI tract cleaned up, because that'll then resonate to the liver and the pancreas and clean those. But cleaning up that GI tract, these are all areas of cleaning and enhancing and rebuilding any weaknesses that the cells might carry, including genetic memories, those sort of things. Remember that side of that. The skin of my body is absolutely perfect, but not on my face. And the sad thing is that it's I don't care what people say, when you detoxify long enough, this is the hardest place to drain. That's why when you can have a good cold and flu-like symptom, enjoy it, ride it like a bull, because you'll get more mucus and more acids out during these events, detoxification events, no matter what triggered them, then you could months on taking herbs and raw foods. So when the body's with you and everybody's running for the door, run with them. let that body, put yourself up on more fruit. Work with that detox. If you have to use more herbs, but detox. Let that clean yourself out. The problem with having this on the face is you've got the central nervous system right there. You've got your eyes. You've got your sense of taste and smell, which when they're back is somewhat nirvanic. When your five senses start coming back, smile starts coming on your face. Because you can smell again, you can taste again, you can see better. All these things take place. And so, try to keep that drained. Use those neurolymphatic points front and back, Oliver. Try to work these neurolymphatics. See if you can help get the lymph moving, get your kidneys filtering better. You said that the skin is the third kidney, and when you have rashes, acne, or eczema, it's an elimination kidney problem. I've noticed that when my kidney, now this is interesting, he's noticed this. See, and that's what I love about you guys, because that's awareness. Awareness is when you start noticing things that you didn't notice before. You're starting to look differently. You're starting to look more broadly at things instead of always thinking. You're starting to observe. And that takes you into a whole nother world of understanding. Exciting. So he notices that when the kidneys are filtering a little in the morning, my skin is always better the day or the day after. When I'm not filtering, the acne gets worse. And see how you can tie that in there? And that's just what I've done through the years, is tie tumors and skin problems and all these things to the kidneys and non-filtering. So when we see the kidneys filtering, everything clears. The tumors go, break up and they have a pathway to be eliminated when they're not. So it shows you direct relationship between the eliminative organs of the kidneys and skin and elimination of acids and wastes. It's a no-brainer. Whether modern physiology has it all together or not, who cares? We know in clinical work this is essential understanding, and that's where the truth is when you can take someone, you can witness this, and you can observe this, and you can see it in actual real time. Because we can say what we want in theories, we can say what we want in labs, but what really is real is on people, on humans. That's where the difference is, and that's where we excel in this world. And we just have proved it. You guys are proving it, and this is a good observation, Oliver. I like this. Yeah, you'll have your beautiful skin, I guarantee you. Keep going. I feel it already, so you'll get it. So my problem is my kidney filtration, absolutely. See how you're kind of going in and out of that? I'm having a hard time to get them filtering every day, and I can't tell you any more than that. You guys are going to have to come in and help us, and all of us work together and understand kidney filtration better, especially those guys of you that are professors, those are you in anatomy and physiology, working with the human body a little more than we are here. When you're working with bodies and stuff, you can play with this a lot better. We don't work with cadavers here. Unfortunately, I would love to do a lot of research and stuff, but you know what? That's what we're all here for. But we know factually what works and what doesn't work. We know factually that the kidneys are essential issues of elimination of cellular waste of acids. We know now why the lymph nodes have the bacteria and the macrophages. We know why the cells go to the lymph nodes for destroy. I mean, it's easy to understand how the body works in that way, in a simplistic way. When we start getting past a certain point, no one knows. I don't care if you're a chemist, you're a physicist, there's a limit to what we know and understand. And that's just the way it is. I've studied both. And so we just have to keep observing and looking at science differently, because it's also how you look and the questions you ask determines. Because remember, I told you 60 Minutes did a study on double-blind studies and found out that he who pays shall win, basically. And a lot of double-blind studies are ridiculously done. And this was 60 Minutes. It had nothing to do with Nature Pass or anything like that. I also have kidney pain sometimes. See, what I'm saying is when you start to feel kidney pain, you got kidney problems. And that's the thing. A lot of people will have stones in the walls and stuff like this, and you're going into these organs and waking them up. So, just be careful with that. You can use maybe a little oil, like castor oil or hemp oil or coconut oil on the back there over the top of the kidneys. Maybe a little heat source to drive that in and kind of as an anti-inflammatory, but it just shows you that your kidneys are at issue here. Could the problem come from the adrenals? Well, the adrenals do control the kidneys. That's the thing, because in so many eyes, When you guys, those of you that are doing the iris work, you'll see this all the time. You'll see kidneys don't look so bad. The adrenals always are down. So the adrenals are down almost 100% of the time. Kidneys probably like 60 to 70% of the time, from what I see in the eyes, you know. But you can have great kidneys and just not filter. Now, whether you blame that on neurotransmitters of dopamine and acetylcholine, whether you blame it on steroids that control mineral utilization, mineralocorticosteroids, maybe a pituitary hormone involved, you know, filtration, interesting stuff. I think what happens is the kidneys get as stagnant interstitially as everything else does. And so it just shuts the kidneys down. And then, of course, as you see that happening, then you see the raise of your creatinine. Because now the acids are breaking down the kidneys themselves. Because you see this a lot in blood work where the kidneys in the lab, urinalysis is clear, there's the urine is still acidic, so there is still minor filtration there, probably of the kidney tissue itself, that keeps the creatinine low for a number of years, and then it all starts to go back south. And that's what you see when you take a look at this. You see that process. It just takes a while, because the time you see your creatinines rounding the bend of number 1, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. They don't get this yet. 1 should be a flashing warning on a lab. 0.9 in most of the better labs, but really 0.7. The medical doctor said, "Oh, look, your kidneys you're starting to have some problems with your kidneys." 0.8, 0.9, you're starting to have some real serious problems with your kidneys. Oh, look, you're 1.4. I've had a case just the other day, 1.4, the medical doctor didn't even talk to her about her kidney function. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. She's loaded with symptoms of acidosis. She's loaded with this and totally ignored the issue. And it's right in their face. The lab said it's right in their face. Could the problem come from adrenals? I have a low blood pressure, 105/70. So taking a look at that, absolutely. But you know, when the kidneys and adrenals, brothers and sisters, man and wife, however you like to reach to look at that. So always work on the adrenals when you work on the kidneys. I don't think you should work on one over the other, tell you the truth. So you hit it right on, Oliver. If you're a young man, you know you have kidney and adrenals. And even if you didn't know whether your friends had it or not, you can just about assume it, because it can never hurt you to work on your kidney and adrenals. I've been using adrenal, kidney, and pituitary glandular for 3 weeks, but it doesn't help yet. Well, you know what? Use the pituitary 1 bottle only. Don't forget that. Don't overdo that. It's a small little gland. The kidney and adrenals, it might take you a while. I mean, you're in a genetic stance, I'm sure, with this. Keep working with that, though. Keep working with filtration. The fruits are the filters. I'm sorry. The fruits are the power. The vegetables, you're going to sit there and go, damn. But with the fruit, you got the astringents. Put yourself on a lemon fast, maybe a 5-10 day lemon juice fast. You're trying to pull and open, astringe these tissues of the body and of the kidneys themselves. You're trying to astringe and open. And so, you know, use those fruits to help you do that, and it should do well. Could you show how to exactly stimulate the kidneys and the adrenals through neurolymphatic points? Go to your back and work down just below the just below the chest area, the kidney areas, and work. You should work them all anyway, because your face involved. So you should work them all the way down, even the kidneys. You'll feel them. She has a chart out now. Shannon does, and if you want that, ask her. Dr. Morris, thank you for hanging out with us on this interesting planet. You're welcome, but don't ask me to stop here again. I have a 16-year-old cat, wow, who, as told by my veterinarian, has Toxoplasmosis. She was treated with antibiotics in the past, but I would prefer to go a different route. With her cat, I would do a little lymphatic one. Just a little parasite in probably would help with that, and a little endocrine gland, and a little kidney. Because with cats, you know, using the vegetarian methods, the GI tract is so, they need pre-digested vegetable matter. So for a cat, a fruit would even be better for a cat than a vegetable because they just do not have the same GI tract as omnivores or as frugivores, and it's just real hard. That's why cats go to the bowels. I just saw another Animal Planet show on that where the cats were going right to the GI tract, going into the bowels, pre-digested amino acids and carbon and stuff like that, because it seems like all animals require all of that. So I would say the herbs are going to be the best way. And again, going back to kidneys and lymphatics, that's what you're going back. But pop up those endocrine glands of your cat, 16 years old, a little parasite them, kind of deworm them and, defungal them and stuff like that. She was treated with antibiotics in the past, but I would prefer to go there. Yeah, absolutely, because same thing. You're not after bacterium, you're after the toxicity of the body. Of the lymph system, and of the inability to filter. When you get older, you lose your kidneys. I mean, bottom line, especially protein eaters, you're going to lose your kidneys. That's what, if you really examine this, that's what kills everybody, is when the kidneys finally go. That's a big deal. So you guys are focusing right in on the biggest deal that man has to deal with. And you're right on point, every one of you. She has recently had another outbreak and became lethargic and stopped eating. I study homeopathy and found a remedy to address her symptoms. Now she is eating again and feeling a bit better. Yeah, good work. And I would also, again, get into the kidneys, the lymphatics, and the endocrine glands. Bring that cat up a little bit, and you'll do good with that. But I want to detoxify her. Yeah. Do you think a kidney, lymphatic, endocrine gland? Jeez! Ow! You guys... We all work on that same line. I love you work with you guys. You guys are really something else. But this is just what I said would help her. And I didn't read it previously. God strike me right here. She is 7 pounds. She eats a raw meat diet. Also, I have hypothyroidism and taking a pituitary glandular and the basic detox herbal formulas. I am also taking Upper Circ. Good idea. Upper Circ is always good, let me tell you. I need to stay on it and get this finished up. Look and see if that pituitary is the cause of that hyperthyroidism. Do a pituitary glandular. You always want to do one bottle and do 1 a.m., 1 p.m. Do one twice a day. That's plenty. And then if that doesn't bring it up, go to the thyroid glandular. 150 milligrams, 3 times a day for 1 or 2 bottles. Be careful. Once you reach a good level of thyroid, then, come off of that. Thyroids and pituitaries are real sensitive there. My hair is falling out and thinning. I would definitely use upper circulation and really work on getting those kidneys to filter and pull these acids out of the head and things. Bring all your glands up. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Do you just keep tearing it up? You do, Patty. I mean, you just keep digging in and digging in and digging in, because through the years we're layered. We're just layered, one layer on top of another each year. Each year we're eating bad, and each year it just layers. It gets deeper and deeper. Things get shoved in. If you're on antibiotics and pharmaceuticals, things are shoved in deeper and impacted deeper in the body. All crevices are shoved with mucus and acids and dust, and then explosion time. Fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme, boom, 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 and then they're going after antibiotics. I mean, it's idiocy when you really understand what's really up here. It becomes idiocy of how man's treating their symptoms, and no wonder they don't get well treating their symptoms, and then they lose all their money treating their symptoms, and then everybody's poor, and oh my God. It's a nightmare. Thanks, Patty. Hello, Dr. Morris, once again, and thank you so much for answering my question and putting up in the... Oh, thanks, man. It's all right. I got a non-stop motor. It must be all the fruits, berries, and melons. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. You can get pretty excited. You can have a lot of energy and a lot of fun out there. Let me tell you, you can dance circles around everyone else when you get up into some of these higher levels. You just got to kick back sometimes and find a way to do something with that energy. And if you can keep that mind quiet, it'll translate into consciousness. And your consciousness will soar with the egos. And you'll see things, egos, not egos. The quote of 2014 for me: fruits, berries, and melons. Yeah. My question is about several articles online that I've read that claim that vitamin B12, creatine, carnosine or something, vitamin D3, and docosahexaone DHA are only found in meat, fish, and... but you read the others, and I don't consider B12 a a vitamin. It's a covitamin. You know, you get a lot of vitamins on journeys of bacterium and in journeys of metabolism. So I look at the B12 as a cofactor related to the adrenal glands. And it's in all, you know, you have the research that shows it's in vegetables, but if it's in fruits and vegetables, then it is a true vitamin. And I see it as a covitamin, cobalt derivative. A creatine amino acid, I mean, you're going to see those sort of things. D3, the question is nobody's ever had the Ds until a few years ago. I'll say this, get the sun, wrap nature around you. Don't take supplements. And I know some of you work indoors, take your breaks, take your lunch, and get out in that sun, because you need that sun. You can't make up for the sun with chemicals. You just can't do it. I disagree with all of that. D3 only in meat. Come on. I mean, you can see why that might be. But again, byproducts. These are byproducts, co-products of metabolism and the like. The journey of chemical transmutation, let's call it. And you can't take transmutated chemistry. You must allow for that natural process of the liver and the whole process of chemical transmutation to take place. We're trying to outthink nature and try to avoid nature and outthink it. We're trying to say, well, don't eat raw and that. Remember I told you the story about Shania Twain and the B12 with Nestle's foods and that sort of thing. So I disagree with all this. There isn't anyone that detoxifies themselves and that on raw foods that are deficient for any of these things. You don't see that. So sometimes we blame lack of energy, we blame all these things on a lack of nutrition, and it could be further from the truth. Our adrenals are down, our glands are down, so we have faulty metabolism. You can't make these type, and this is, I've said this before, you can't make the argument for deficiencies until you fix digestion, absorption, utilization, meaning hormone steroids. So what glands are always down? The steroid glands, the adrenals, right? So don't expect for good mineral utilization and total processes, metabolitic processes until the adrenal steroids are handled. And then, of course, you have proper elimination to make sure the first three are always doing well. Because that's what's happened. Because of the nature of the types of foods and the high acidosis of the foods, and of course the high protein types of diets which have ripped the bowels and the kidneys, our eliminative organs are in horrible shape. The colon, no one has a healthy colon, no one. And the kidneys are down like nobody's business. So these two eliminative organs, or three of the kidneys and one of the GI tract, are in a horrible shape. Chronic, twisted, distorted. I mean, we have serious GI tract and kidney problems in today's world, and the adrenals are down in everybody. But you can't just say stress. You have to look at lifestyle. What are you consuming in chemistry? And it is what man thought we should be consuming, but his thinking is just that. Thinking is conditioned state of activity. It has nothing to do with truth. That's why consciousness is always sought over the mind in those people that have the know, those spiritual giants that know about the mind, and that the trap of the mind. And man has just fell right into it, and he still is deep into it. Reveres, everybody should be educated the same. You got souls on every different level, and to claim that everybody should have the same academic, this is just narcissism. This is just out of control, out of balance narcissism. Because it doesn't take in for the worlds of God and individuality. And then people have a feeling of inferiority because they don't come up to the standards of man. Screw man. You know, man's in trouble for everything that he's been doing. His thinking processes, his aggression toward others. He's in trouble. And he's sucking up some bad karma. So you guys free yourself. You guys know the truth. And let man suffer as he will. But you guys free yourself in every way, shape, or form. But no one is deficient when you fix proper digestion, proper absorption, that's the lymph system in the gut wall, utilization. You cannot just take in calcium and magnesium and vitamins and all this without proper hormones and steroids. You can't do that because you won't utilize it. You take calcium and you don't have proper parathormone or proper parathyroid hormone, you're going to give yourself arthritis. Seen it a lot of times. So there's a time limit and a time not. That's why I don't get into supplementation. It's not worth it. You're trying to skip proper digestion, proper absorption, proper utilization. And the only way to have those three is with proper elimination. And these 4 stages are essential before you can bring up any argument of deficiency. And if you do, you're wasting your time with me. Is this true? No. You have another set of people that say the opposite. But remember, these are cofactors. Clean your body out, get your digestion fixed, fix your pancreas, fix your liver. How do you fix them? You clean them and restore them. You've got herbs, you've got diet. They clean and restore. That's simple. You don't need to look outside of that realm. That realm takes care of everything. Real nice. Thank you very much. Done. So you clean and restore the function of. But to understand that deeper, you have to go back to that video I put up on the school and understand the God worlds, at least what we know of them, and understand how your different bodies affect you as a one human body. How does your mind and brain, what's the difference between the mind and the brain? Right? Emotions and the body called the astral body. What's the difference? Or your adrenal glands, I'll say, and your emotions. You know, you have to understand we have etheric levels to ourselves that are non-physical. And if you can't get with that, then you're going to have a real tough time in life, especially spiritually. You'll not be happy. Your questions will never get answered because you must understand and give God true due. This is a very chemical world, and neat as heck as it is, all these other etheric worlds are more energetic light worlds, and the beauty is just compounded immensely. Give God its just due. It is massive, just this one area of creation. It's beyond your ability of this mind to deal with. If not, then could you please tell me which fruits and vegetables? No, you get all that stuff in there. And if you're worried about that, if you're worried about it at all, get our superfood blend and take a teaspoon a couple of times a day or 3 times a day. That's more nutrition than anybody, any animal, any human gets. Power pack. That's the problem. I was telling you with the infant formula we have soon out. I've been trying to cut it back. Too much nutrition. But again, you have to fix digestion, absorption, utilization. And you do that by fixing proper elimination. Essential. Thanks for the questions. Hello, Dr. Morris. First, I want to say that I appreciate... thanks. I really appreciate that. Arturo. My first question is, are coffee enemas good and efficient for colon body detoxification? Talked about it many times, Arturo. No way in hell. Because I think you said that overstimulating the tissue is not the best thing, and it's not. You know what? Just give yourself coffee enema for the next 6 months and stop and then try to poop. You know, overstimulation of tissue is not the answer. You can't overstimulate and make good, because when we overstimulate, then we innervate, because you have the 2 poles of duality. When you overstimulate, so think of it as a hard run. Overstimulation of tissue is a coffee, a hard run, and then try to stop and breathe normally. No, you're gonna catch up. You're gonna have some relaxed time. You're gonna have some time to move out that lactic acid. If you're moving your lymphs, see what I'm saying? And you're going to have time to let everything kind of balance out. And that's same thing, you know. You can't overstimulate without innervation. So it was that commercial, and I think it's a computer commercial or something, but some guy takes off running. And he just has a nice pace to himself, just kind of trucking down, nice pace. Here's another guy just take off, kick his ass. So he's taking off, and he's going to be, he's running, and takes off just beat bat out of hell. So it shows this other guy running up the hill, and he passes this other guy that took off like a bat out of hell, and this guy's going, and he's just running, passing him right along. That's my point. So get away from that. Use herbs, because you're only stimulating the colon, and not a wise thing to do. So you want natural energetics from cells. You want what I call the dynamicness from cells. When I want energy, I want it dynamic. I want it from the cell and what the cell produces, neurotransmitters and the like. I don't want a stimulated cell like Red Bull energy. Because I know a whole dealership, a Ford dealership, and these salesmen are pumping Red Bull like no tomorrow. They move out a lot of vehicles, but let me tell you, they're all crashing. I said, you're all going to be seeing me one of these days because you're all crashing and burning. The adrenals are now down, you know, because they overstimulated themselves. They overworked, and then they overstimulated themselves to stay energetic. That's not health. That's not vitality. No. So use the herbs to clean the GI tract. That's the best way to do that. Because then you're getting the small bowel involved. Now, remember, in the wall of the GI tract is what? The blood and lymph systems. And they are absorptive systems, especially the lymph absorbing a lot of your nutrition. So what system are they tied to? The kidneys. So you're always working on all of those. See the connection there? This is Robin. Hi, Doc. Hey, Robin, what do you think is the cause of female pattern baldness? Isn't there anything I do about it? Absolutely, sweetheart. Same thing for male. There's no difference between a female body and a male except for gonadals, you know. Basically, a few of the things, but it's just differences in steroids, still same steroids. Women produce the same steroids man does, just in different ratios. And you can change those ratios and then change the way you think and feel and talk, right? Right. No, I'd get into upper circ, sweetheart, and I'd get into moving my lymph system. I'm telling you, that's the real scary stuff. When you start losing the hair, that's when it gets real scary. So you want to get upper circulation. You want to get your kidneys filtering, of course, and get that lymph cleaned out. Because first you're addressing cause, meaning that's the lymph and acids, because that's what's breaking down hair. Just remember, just think of hair loss, chemo, just think of chemo, and then with chemo, just think high acidosis, and then you know exactly what's going on. So upper circ will move blood aggressively, it'll help the hair growth. At the same time, you want to clean your sinuses out, you want to get your lymph drained out of your head, but you got to clean everything down below here. So, you know, see if you have fibrocystic breast, things like this. This is another precursor to all the things that working themselves up here, honey. So really get in there and get your kidneys filtering, get your lymph moving so you can start draining. Hopefully you'll get a cold and flu-like symptom one of these days and have a big one. You know, get all this congestion out of the head area. And thanks for the question. Hi, Dick. I have been having tons of green mucus. Yeah, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo. The green is good. Brown, good, better, deeper, green, deep. So when you start getting that green and brown mucus out, you're into the mix, baby. You're into that deep crap inside of you. The yellow, you're getting there. Clear, okay, you're clearing the surface off. When you get into the green and the brown, boy, that's that deep crap inside of you. Deep in the bronchioles, deep in the lung, deep in the brain. Good to get that crap out. That's all I can tell you. Green mucus coming out, A-okay with me. Coming out of my nose and some coming out. And imagine this is in your voice box, in your throat, in your sinuses, in your head. So your head full of green, highly active mucus. I mean, you can expect bacterium to always be involved in things. That's not the issue. This mucus is from your mucosa, and this is how your immune system works. Unfortunately, because we choose to eat such a high level of mucus-forming foods, we have a high level of mucus. Wasn't supposed to be that way, but then again, you know, spiritually, you have to ask yourself, maybe it was. He has some coming out of the throat for the last 4 days. I even coughed up a big ass blob of breath. That's what I'm talking about, baby. You see, and once that stuff comes out, you'll breathe better, you'll oxygenate the body. You can check your O2 saturation there before and after, and man, your O2, you'll go up a point or two. Where you might be 98, you'll go up to 100 or 99%. You can't get much better than that. Hey, Dr. Morris, this is Jared. Hi, my friend. My channel is Electrixia T-A-R-I-A-N-S. Turns, huh? Not sure if you'd remember me, but I remember your name, J-A-R-E-D, Jared. I asked you a question a few months ago. I'm the guy who changed his diet at about 14 years old, bro. My God, you're so good. I said I was very spiritual. Oh, yeah. Many would probably agree with you there. Anyway, I have some questions regarding my father's health. Oh, good. My father is in his 50s. I love you guys. You young guys, you guys are really, you're the world, man. You're the future. All you young guys and gals. My father's in his 50s, and he has some health problems that him and I would both like some advice on. I certainly want to know more than he does. Well, really, the kids are supposed to learn more and know more, actually. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, is pass on what we've learned, that hopefully the do's and don'ts. Of course, we always go through them anyway, but I've always felt that that's what we're supposed to do. I am not at all egoed up that if you guys can push this and get into some better information and more pointed information, I'm excited, because I consider us a team, all of us working together. I don't consider us as individual lights. I consider us as one big, powerful light of God, coming down with truth and awareness and helping man to uplift himself. And yeah, it's essential. It has to be. Now, my dad has neuropathy. Okay, so neuropathy, no matter where it is, you remember there's only two sides of chemistry. So no matter what condition faces you, there's only two sides of chemistry, and everything physically is in the world of chemistry. Everything. You swim, you breathe, everything is in. If you ever see, I was watching this mermaid show again where they found the remnants of the mermaid, and this, and even in the Ringling Brothers had an actual one of these mermaids, and it's just hard to deny the fact that these creatures exist out there. I mean, really good done show, really good. And, oh crap, now I forgot what I was going to tell you about it. Yeah, that'll come back. But anyway, just remember that, I know what I was going to say. They were swimming with the dolphins and the porpoises, and it was showing their growth. And I was thinking of that. We swim completely in an ocean of chemistry. Even though it looks like the air is void, it's not. We swim in this ocean of chemistry, guys. And so everything is chemistry. There's only two sides. Some are more corrosive than others on the acid side. You have some beneficial acids, and you have some very corrosive alkalis. So balance is always considered great, with the dominance on the base side. Staying away from too far either side of chemistry is smart, So it's just understanding that. And understanding that man has been swimming in the ocean of acids for so long that his body is mutating. His genetics are so bad that children are in major troubles. That's not how it's supposed to be. But, we're learning how we are turning that. And you guys stand at the pinnacle of this. You guys stand at the very forefront of the change of consciousness on this planet. And it's the only way it seems to happen. It's getting done. And you guys, I'm real proud of each and every one of you. And this young man is too. I mean, geez. Talked to him when he was 14. I mean, he died when he was 14 years old. That's a lot of self-awareness. At 14, I mean, that's amazing. That's good stuff. So his father's 50 and got neuropathy. So neuropathies are the breakdown of the myelin sheaths, and that's all done by acids, and low neurotransmitters doesn't help that picture. And that's coming from the adrenals. So building up the adrenal glands are key for the neurotransmitters to run across those myelin sheaths, so to speak, to ignite and turn on and repair. Now you got brain and nerve, a good formula, brain and nerve number 2. I love that one, a good formula for the nervous system. At the same time, you got to remove this acid. Well, what system deals with acids? Well, there's only two major systems that deal with the health of the cells, and that's blood, nutrition, and lymph, the sewer. Common sense, easy to understand. So you got to work on the sewer system, of course. Then you can use the brain and nerve formulas to enhance the nervous system, and of course the adrenals that's always involved in the lymph system anyway, but also for neurotransmitters of the autonomic, because it's the autonomic that he's losing. I certainly want to know more about then. Yeah, I see that. Mainly his legs and feet, of course. And again, prostate. He's going to have some prostate, lower back, kidneys. You know, it's kidneys, kidneys, kidneys. But again, that's one of our big focuses: the GI tract and the kidneys, cleaning the eliminative organs up, changing what's going in, and everything starts to move, clean, and repair and rebuild. It's that simple. So it's really simplistic, you know. He also has really low blood pressure. There you go. There's the adrenals right there. And of course, that means low neurotransmitters. Low neurotransmitters means nerve rings. Nerve rings in the eye. Nerve rings in the eye means myelin sheath decay. Myelin sheath decay means, neuropathies. You know, and then you can get into other things, you know, when the cerebellum goes, brain lesions. Don't even have to have brain lesions to be diagnosed with MS, but still, all of these things start to go down, you know, and you just have to turn everything around. Which is, you do it by turning the diet, number one. You always do to change the diet, number one. Number one. And if you can't change your diet, smack yourself up the head and then change your diet. You can change your diet. Change this. Change your consciousness. Who's in control of your consciousness? You. And you have to gain control. Well, the only way to gain control of your consciousness is get away from your mind. And that's what we've been talking about too. That's as vital as understanding the mind is a good servant, a lousy master. Okay, his blood pressure is usually 90/70. Holy crap. Well, your dad's got some serious adrenal problems. That's going to give him the lower back and the prostate. It's going to give him the neuropathies, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, everything up here is up for grabs too. You know, it's not just everything down below. So that's real bad, especially 50-year-old male. 50 years old, has low blood pressure like that, serious kidney and adrenal problems. Real serious. You know, that's really low for a 50-year-old. Because at 50 years old on an acid diet, you would expect to start seeing higher blood pressures coming in. And this guy's staying down in the low, so really weak adrenals. But that'll explain to you why the neuropathies. And you'll see that in what other kind of condition. We'll use their terminology. Diabetes, blood sugar problems. Why? Adrenals. When the adrenals are down, not only the steroids are down, but the neurotransmitters are down, almost always. Which I know is not good. Overall, the main concern is the fact that this is a smart lad. I love you guys. You guys are learning the most essential part of health and wellness. You guys are doing so well. You know, most medical doctors would just skip over this. You know, and nurses too. And it's like, no. You can understand nerves, neuropathies, acids, low neurotransmitters, nerves, neurotransmitters, adrenals, neurotransmitters. Absolutely. You know, I don't know what they teach in school anymore. Overall, the main concern is the fact that he gets really lightheaded all of a sudden every day at work. Okay, so we're back here now. So his kidneys are down. It's obvious. His adrenals are way down. That knocks the kidneys down. So his lymph system's backing up. He's getting inflammation in the cerebellum here. So the next thing you're going to see is the hair loss, and this could trip him into MS or something like that. Some diagnosis of a neurological condition, because when you start getting this, then all this acidosis starts breaking down the central nervous system as well. So, yeah, this is important stuff. Upper circumbrain and nerve number 2 is one of my 2 right there. Then heavily get into his lymphatic system. It worries me. God, he's a smart young man. He's worried about his dad at that age. My God. Because I know that with adrenals and, God, he's a smart guy, that fatigued, he could just hit the floor at any moment. Well, and you bring up a good point, because you're also talking about strokes and heart attacks. See how we're going down that same road? We're all driving down that same road. It's just some people are way on down in the front side of acidosis. And, of course, how the body responds to acidosis. Pulling of calcium, just like you'd use calcium in acid reflux, the body's going to use it in systemic acidosis and, of course, cholesterol. And then, of course, occlusions develop, blockages develop, lymph swells, all kinds of things happen. So then you go down with strokes and heart attacks. I used to have fainting spells as well. Oh my God. Yeah, you want to get up, my friend, up in the upper circuit and really make your life, you're a young lad, make your life one of health and vitality, and you will, when you have your children, you will take your family genes and have turned them totally around and going the other way. Good job. I used to have, which now, because of fruit, I don't. Isn't that neat? Yeah, that's the nervous system. And you gotta work, because since Dad is so low in his kidneys and adrenals, my friend, you are going to be even lower. So really work on yourself, because this is real serious stuff here. And you're really you're good. So I know how fainting works. Yeah, you're good, smart. And you'll be knowledged up. This gives you a head up, because you'll have that knowledge and help others that have that same thing. Not sure that it's true, but what do you think about that? He doesn't eat much for breakfast or lunch. He's not taking any herbs. I would do just what I'm doing with, have him review this video. He needs to go on a little detox, good on the first kit, deworm him, and just get everything moving at upper circuit, brain, and nerve. And just keep him going down. If he can afford the kits for a little while, afford the kits. However you have to do that, but you know where you have to work. You have to work on the kidneys, work on the adrenals. You got to work on the adrenals. That's so low, you got to use a glandular, and I'd use 400 on him, milligrams, 1-3 times a day if I was doing it. I'll say this also, upper circuit, brain, and nerve, important on the dad to kind of keep him from, having problems that we don't want. And Dad, you got to get back on the fruits and the berries and the melons like your son, and really spend some time getting out of this neuropathy, because fruits and berries and melons are the only foods that will pull you out of neuropathy. Vegetables are not that good. So I feel like without the caffeine and soda he drinks, his adrenals can't keep up. Well, that's it. And then, of course, all these stimulants, when he quits, he's going to really crash. That's the problem with stimulants. And like the one gentleman asked about coffee enemas, yeah, you're going to crash. And sounds like he needs a real melon berry fast and some glandulars. Sounds like I know you're right, son. His doctors are telling him complete crap. Absolutely. Know what it is? Well, you're a smart lad. As expected, like eat salt to fix the adrenal problem. Yeah, stupid stuff. Which he would crave, being that low, possible, which they can just call a blood pressure problem, because they don't realize the relationship between blood pressure and the adrenals and kidneys. I know, isn't that sad? Not hard. I'm sure just salt will not fix his adrenal problem. Are you kidding? Not even close. Salt will not even touch it. That has nothing to do. I mean, that's something salt metabolizes. I mean that's something adrenal hormones or steroids metabolizes. The same crap they told me as a kid. Get this, the doctors told me as a kid to eat McDonald's French fries for my fainting spells. I mean, don't you think that it's time we have a major overhaul of the AMA? I think so. And a lot of you good medical doctors that are working with us, we all need to find a way, or find our own, that's what I'm trying to do, is create a whole new system here of truth, of how it works, where we get in and repair. And I love the word naturopathy, but it's just sad that we have so many naturopaths that are fouling the name up. And they don't know any better. I mean, it sounds exciting to get into the health field. The problem is it's been so tainted allopathically. It's kind of sad that way. Yeah, McDonald's French fries, the ones the ants won't even eat, you mean? That's the kind of healers we have in the 40s. I know. But you know what? You're seeing through that, my son. And that's key, that you keep building your spirituality, because you're here for a very important reason, and you're really getting this to help your dad. And so many people fall into this type of scenario like your dad. Really love that, Jared. Yeah, I love that. The blood to move other veins in his legs and into his numb feet. Absolutely. I would do some lower circulation, obviously, as well. So upper and lower circulation would be important. The problem when you get more involved, more herbal formulas can help you more, and that's the problem, So you just got to spend some money aside. Maybe, the problem is people are going to spend all this money for health care, all this money, and they can only use a fraction of that on botanicals. But they have to have their health care. And it's like, no, learn how to save yourself. If you have an accident, your homeowners or your car insurance will pay for your surgeries and stuff, that sort of thing. And check it through those outlets. But I mean, it's just a sad thing. The apple never falls far from the tree, genetically at least. That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's a good heads up for you, my man. I find it funny how all the problems I experienced at a young age, my dad is now experiencing it the same way. Absolutely. Because, and you hit that right on the head, because I find it about 10 years, depends on the age and stuff, a difference, or even more, and in your case even more, shows you that your dad's walking down the same road, or you're walking down the same road he was, but now even worse. And that's been our whole point here, is that, and you're the type of young man that should be a poster child for this sort of thing, that shows other young folks that we can pull ourselves up here. We can learn outside of our social consciousness and our academics. We don't have to always follow the books, because we're learning, and thank God for computers and TV, because now we're learning that history was wrong. History is being rewritten by archaeologists now. Things like that, where you're getting into true forensic work. We're seeing things much different than what has been taught. So we just need to redo a few things, and then we're off and running. Now, he also had Crohn's disease that he lost part of his colon from. You see, this is all interstitial stuff in around the cells, and that's his lymph system real bad there, you know. And just a note, I feel like it's important. My thoughts are that he needs to get off all protein. Number one, always number one. Because when you're on Crohn's, if a medical doctor doesn't tell you get off of protein, we got a problem. You know, that the worst thing you could do with Crohn's or IBS or anything like that would be proteins. Hey, you're just asking for surgery. And greatly reduce his fat intake. I think that if he ate a fruit fast, preferably mono and or berry melon fast, then he would really fix the rule. I think you're totally right. Matter of fact, I know you're totally right, Jared. Nope, you got it down, my young friend. And I'm proud of you for that. And you just keep learning and keep growing. Don't stop. Make this your passion, because you're going to be good at it. And you have a whole world at your feet. And every one of you the same way. Fix yourselves and help fix everyone else up. Hello, Dr. Morris. I just want to say I appreciate all your videos. Thank you so much. Oh, this is our arterial again. I wanted to know if called... Oh, I already read that one. This might be a repeat of that one. Oh, it'd be nice if half of these were repeats. Only because I got so much to go through in so little time. Hello all. Thank you, Dr. Morris, and your able staff for leading edge contribution. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Art from Connecticut. Based on the assertion that a healing crisis is a beneficial event, I put forth the possibility of provoking a specific crisis using a specific homeopathic remedy. The idea that a homeopathic remedy given when the condition it would cure is absent creates the symptoms of that condition. Well, because like treats like, right? Creates the symptoms of the condition, thus mimicking a healing crisis. My gut says that this may be useful in those anatomical areas where drainage is poor. You know what? You might be onto something, Art. You do some work on that and let me know. You might be onto something. I would say I would do that, except for like using certain homeopathics. Like, let's say when I was poisoned with quinine, the antidote was more quinine. Definitely on the vaporous side, but I can tell you I couldn't even get close to that. The vibration alone of neurotoxins was bad for me. So there's some things, yeah. So you never know. If you can promote a healing crisis, by all means. Anytime you can get your body to join you in expectorating the acids and the mucus in it, you got a power, friend, that'll work with you, you know. We got to love our bodies more. Oh, this was nice. I can swallow. Hi, sweetheart. I appreciate you too, honey. You've talked about fermented fruit that is picked green and then set on a countertop to ripen. Should we eat this fruit? Well, you know, sadly, Consuela, sadly, sometimes we don't have a choice, but it's like peaches. I just love peaches. And I was just up in the mountains, but there's nothing really... I mean, they had corn and they had a few things, but the gardens are just really going in up there. I mean, they had no water. I had Florida watermelon. I bought 3 big seeded melons in a grocery store. They all hit the dumpster. Bears liked them. But, you know, it's just like, sad stuff. But I think, obviously, we should attempt to find the ripest possible, obviously, and then do our best with that. If we have to get frozen organic fruit, that's a good level to do. But I don't know. Sometimes we have no choice to do things like that. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. The flavor's never there. Nothing's ever there. You can't ripen nutritively by fermentation because that's the process of decay. So everybody wants fermented foods, but it's a process of decay. That's not where your nutrition is. It's at its peak. And that's what you want. That's the peak of the flavors. It's the peak of the sweetness. It's the peak of everything. It's the peak of the smile and the feel good. My daughter had brain surgery, when she turned 5. That's the one the tumor popped right out in the surgeon's hand. Remember that? You did good to hold them off with that. We did the surgery and went on your botanicals and raw diet since. And 2 months prior, it's been 4 years since surgery. And my little girl has a big belly, chubby all over the rest of her body. Remember why, though, Consuela? You know, I know your case very well, and you know, think of adrenals, and of course then the neurological system. So again, you want to keep digging deep into your daughter, getting that lymph, getting the kidneys restored, getting good filtration in your daughter, getting the adrenals up, make sure her blood pressure's up because of the autonomic nervous system connection. At the same time, again, like some of the other children you know of there, the one that's blowing people's minds, upper circumbrain nerve. Blowing people's minds. Unbelievable. She was on steroids for 6 months, and that's why. But you see that also. You know, when you're dealing in a child like this, she had to do this because remember that the AMA in this country will literally take your child if you don't follow suit. But she's been working with her daughter. But that's why. The 6 months on steroids just shot her adrenals even more. It makes for round bellies and round faces. But get back to that. Get back to the fruit. It's the summertime in Pennsylvania. You know, get up there, get the raw going. The watermelons, you're going to have good melons and cantaloupes and stuff. You know, really clean her out and go focus on those adrenals on your child. Check her blood pressures and keep working on. Make sure, check her pee. Make sure she's filtering, Consuela, because you know what? I know she hasn't grown one back, but that's good because you've been working with her. But without working with these children, you're removing a tumor does nothing but make room for another one. That's the problem. You know, you've got to fix causative factors, and I know, of course, you know well with that, Consuela. I was wondering if the fermented fruit is her problem. Maybe you need a little more powerful fruit. Do your best to find as ripe as possible, but keep her on the grapes. That's the one universal food that is as ripe as we can get it most of the time and stuff. Now you got cherry season, you got all this, but keep your daughter high on fruit. I know your daughter has a tough fight with the diet on that, or at least she did. And it was hard for you to keep her on a good diet. I know that. So you just keep working with them, you know. I know where you live, no good ripe fruit here. I know, and that's a real problem because just a real problem. In Pennsylvania has a lot of other problems. You notice all your friends, Tamara and all that around there, just a lot of sick kids. Pennsylvania has a lot of problems in toxicity of the air, I think, and I don't know whether it's a nuclear plant, I don't know. She does have diabetes. See, going back to the adrenals, honey. That's her adrenals. And you've got to keep restoring those adrenals. And I would have her on a glandular because of the steroid use for such a long time and the fact that you see the belly and the face, that's the adrenals. And really get the kidneys too. You want to check that pee. We don't want any more tumors in this young girl, which was brought on by steroid overdose prior to surgery. But you know what happened? If you look at the steroid, what was the modus operandi? It shut down her adrenals. Well, the adrenals is where sugar metabolism takes place, cortisol. So they shut down her own steroid production because they were using theirs. But it also should have showed them that she had low steroids from the beginning anyway. And to have a tumor like that, she had to have no kidney filtration. To have no kidney filtration, she had to have the adrenals down. Hello. They're in the neighborhood. You guys just know which houses to go into. So you see the connection there. The steroids wrecked her adrenals even more, so it threw her into diabetes. And anytime you start suppressing steroids, it's going to throw you into something that steroid should be doing. Same thing with neurotransmitters. You suppress your neurotransmitters, there goes your energy, there goes the lethargicness, the chronic fatigue syndromes, your neurological responses, your bowel responses, your breathing responses, your heart responses. So we know her adrenals are down. Yes, we do. Thinking her pancreas is down also? Nah, not so. The only way you're going to know is to look at her eyes, get a picture, and I know we have a picture of them somewhere, I think, but also look at her stools. If she has undigested carbohydrates, which is fruits, berries, melons, and salads, then she has a pancreatic weakness, but not so much for blood sugar. No, that's the adrenals. Thinking her been on and off of the botanicals as we can afford since 2010. We'll always make sure kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics. Kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics. Or kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics, and endocrine gland. You know, bring your daughter up and up and up. I know we've been holding off on the pituitary in the past because we don't want to create any more tumors. But I think since they removed all that, she's good and she should be having some filtration. Check her filtration, sweetheart. If the fruit is this issue plus her adrenals, would you recommend her food? I'd recommend grapes out the butt. All the fruit for the kids. Apples, even if it's out of season and stuff like that. You know, I don't know what this one was tied to this one, but let's see if it's from the same. Hello, what are the effects on a person having lost their tonsils? Well, I've wondered that myself for years since there are lymph nodes. What tissues in the throat? And now with all the tonsils out, you see so many throat cancers now, palate cancers, throat cancers. Scary stuff, you know, because always know that cells feed into lymph nodes. And when you remove the tonsils, some tissues are going to be affected. I don't know what all tissue, to be honest with you, I don't know what all tissues flow through the tonsils, you know. But definitely the voice box probably, the esophagus, part of the esophageal area. Who knows what all fits in there. Medical doctor might be able to answer that more, of what tissues, and maybe not even them, flow into those lymph nodes there. But anytime you remove a septic tank, their cells that feed their waste into them no longer can remove those wastes. So there is some degree of lymphedema, meaning a lymphatic backing up or constipation at some level somewhere. The problem with this, knowing that acids are the lymphatic system's issue, that then becomes an acidosis problem, and destruction and swelling and tumors and everything like that becomes of issue. So I don't know, you know, it is definitely of concern. Consuelo, I hope that answers that. I don't know if this is you too, but I hope that answers it. But I would try, it's going to be warm. I try to, you know, your daughter's getting older, and you really try to get her convincing to eat a lot of fruits and berries and melons, a lot of good old watermelon up there and things like that, cantaloupe in season and stuff like that. Outside of that, do the veggies on her. I mean, the kids, you know, you got good corn on the cob and stuff like that, even though nobody digests that crap. But you got to find a balance. But in that balance, you got to eliminate the bad stuff totally. And for her, any child, anything that smacks of dairy, cheese, or anything, I sure wouldn't do it, especially post-brain surgery of tumor or something. No way in hell. Anything that's milky, cheesy, ice creamy, yogurty, no way. You work so hard to clean bodies out, and to have these type of foods just congest them right back up. Too much work to get rid of this stuff and then put it right back in. So these are the foods you got to keep away from her, no matter what her friends say. You just have to work with her and get her consciousness to understand what, you know, cancer is. Will the lymph from the head still be able to drain properly? Well, that's an excellent question. I haven't found that it hasn't, but I'm sure there is some compromising in that drainage. I really do. I've not had my tonsils removed, but I've had so many clients who have, probably well over 60% have. And I've been able to get everybody healthy and well and no cancers and everything else. So from that perspective, I'm saying, okay. Are there things these people will always have to deal with, even if they do through detox and clean up the diet? Well, like I said, I haven't seen too much trouble with that. Other lymph nodes, nightmare from hell. growing lymph nodes and stuff, you can get a lymphedema that detox can't take out because you can't detox past that. That lymph node's removed. You can't get to those cells anymore. Serious stuff happened. And that's always been you have the same concern I've always had, but not known. And working with so many people, I've just not seen where that does the same thing, let's say like growing lymph nodes and other lymph nodes, axillary lymph nodes and stuff. Haven't seen the same thing happen. But, maybe I haven't looked as close either. But tons of people gotten healthy without tonsils and everything, so we'll just have to see. I wouldn't put too much attention to it other than just one eye, and tonsils grow back real easy. Same question about the gallbladder and the appendix. Well, definitely about the appendix because it's a lymph tissue like the tonsils. So I've always said that, now can we really clean interstitially with the colon now? That's a good question, and there's just not enough iris pictures done with that, not enough correlation done with that, but these are great. Boy, if we ever had a research center, these are just great questions one could follow with eye pictures and everything else. Watching interstitial stagnation in the gut go away without or with appendixes on detoxes. I mean, there's just so much of this that would be good curiosity because it would really help to define a lot more of what you can and can't do with lymph nodes removed. Now, gallbladders, I've never seen anybody rebuild a gallbladder ever. I don't know. I've seen livers grow back, pieces of livers, obviously, major pieces of liver. I've seen a whole half of a liver be removed and the half grow back. But with that said, bile, big deal, and so definitely change how you emulsify fats and lipids can have a big effect on that. So, those without gallbladders don't do well with lipids. The problem with that is lipids are essential, but you do absorb lipids from the intestinal wall into the lymph system and then up to the liver gallbladder. So I don't know, definitely compromising digestion for sure. Wouldn't have anything to do with the lymph system, the gallbladder, but the appendix and tonsils would. Also, I know that we should not recommend the adrenal formula for a person with high blood pressure due to the licorice. Now, I don't have the licorice in it anymore. I did take the licorice out of it because of that reason. So I figure, we can supplement licorice on the side, and that way we don't have to worry about the herbal adrenals hurting someone with high blood pressure, so I took it out. But substituted on the side for low blood pressure, like this young lad's dad, should probably be supplementing licorice on the side, but I would recommend a glandular when he's that chronic. But these are good questions. You guys have got some good questions. I really admire you guys. I'm real proud of each and every one of you. How do we know when not to give something that is organ gland specific? Well, that's a good question too. When you're dealing with the glandulars, these are real strong. Its frequency, like I've said, it's been radioisotoped, so particles are getting to tissues. So all I can say is that it is a high energetic hit, and you don't need to use glandulars long term. The only gland that seems to take a licking and keep on ticking with the glandulars is the adrenals. These are the ones that are so low, but they are pretty big glands. When you get to the pituitary, really only one bottle of pituitary glandular is really essential, I think. That's 1 a.m., 1 p.m., that's all I do. Marcy uses a lot of the hypothalamus area tissue to excite and turn on people's memories and stuff, which I've used in the past as well. But I don't use a lot of that because it's powerful, it's energetic. You don't need much of that. And you want to pull back and see if it holds. So I like to use 1 or 2 bottles, go along and detox and see if that holds. If it does, I'm good, you're done, you don't need it. If we need to go back, we go back. Thyroid's the same way. Thyroids can be real sensitive. So I start off with thyroid 150s, knowing that perhaps the pituitary can turn on the thyroid. Once in a blue moon, I'll use a thyroid and pituitary together, especially when I know TSH is the problem and this person is really suffering. We want to bring them up. But I don't spend a lot of term on that. The herbal tinctures or capsules for the glands, you can use the hell out of those. Most of them are berries. So you have extreme nutritive hit. You get a lot of nutrition from those formulas. Plus, you get the power of the berry on the gland. So, But remember that most of the glands are down because of the lymphatic systems. Even in genetic stances and genetic passing of weaknesses, we go back and trace the causative factors. It takes them back to the lymph system again. So by ingesting the raw foods, you're ingesting consciousness. You're ingesting the power of that and the uniqueness of that individual food. You're ingesting the chemical of that individual food, which is similar to all the chemistry of the foods. And then you're using specific nutrition and chemistry in terms of botanicals to address specific tissues. You can't get more specific than that. You know, I mean, that's the best she comes. The problem is not with the herbs and the raw foods as much, if we could get good raw foods, is with the degree that man is involved. This has been going on for generations and generations, and it's gotten so bad that the youth is so bad off that finally we're in trouble. And man still hasn't done that. Man still doesn't have that. We still donate to St. Jude's and all these hospitals that use chemotherapy on these kids. These people should be going to jail, not praised and given money. You know, there's a time where you got to stop and realize that some of the things we've been using is barbaric and that causes people's deaths. I mean, it is a nightmare when man stops and looks at allopathy. There's going to be nothing but white and shock at the level we've gotten with that. Not good. Nothing. It's nothing now to hear about pharmaceuticals. Like I said, that new one that's only been on the market 6 weeks, and the number one side effect, fatal events. And the FDA allowed that? You guys are bad guys. You guys need to go to jail for a while and sit and learn meditation and how to open up and write on the blackboard, I will not kill or allow anyone to kill through pharmaceuticals 1,000,000 times on a blackboard. I heard you say on a video that you would not give thyroid for a hyperthyroid. Why would you give something that turns on a gland when a gland's already overturned on? That wouldn't be smart, would it? No. You want to pull back. When you see a gland that's in its hyper state, you can just about lay money down that there is something causing it. That's simple, obviously, but its stimulation is a rule, either a metal or a chemistry of some sort, obviously, whether it's acidosis, that low acidosis can hyperstimulate the thyroid, pituitary, blah, 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 but so can inorganic iodine. Different metals love the brain, like aluminum and mercury, those can hyperstimulate the brain tissue at first, but everything will go down. When something's overactive, you just detoxify the body and everything will be fine. The hyperactivity will go down, especially when you clean those related tissues out, and everything's good. You don't need to give anything for hyperactivity because then you'll send that patient or person way out there. That's not smart. You want to withdraw things and detoxify. In hypo, that's when you got to enliven, turn on, regenerate, make well. But hyper is going down that road. Hyper always turns into hypo. Remember that. Hypo. And as you keep going into hypo, that's low functioning. The process of termination. Would you please explain? Yeah. And if there is time, would you please what would cause a person to crave peanut butter? Hell if I know. Tastes good? I met a young man over the weekend who was starting to get his peanut allergies, and I'm saying, get that lymph system cleaned out. These are just toxic foods. Crane. Hi, Dr. Morris. Hi, Crane. I just love watching your, oh, thanks, man, videos and learning about your body's most important functions. Thanks. You know, I think it's fun, too, because you know what? No one's really taken the time to explain that to us as we've been growing up, you know, because everybody's living life and everybody's trying to get you academically out there so you can be a space astronaut or a space engineer or something, you know, and it's like everybody doesn't want to be a space engineer. So thanks a lot, my friend. Thanks. Thanks. My question is about TINEA, VERSICOLOR. All right. I have been battling this on and off since the early 90s. I have been to a dermatologist twice over the years for it. So you know the gig on that, don't you? The first time he just prescribed me a lotion. I mean, the same kind of crap. You know, steroid lotions, all this kind of stuff to use in the shower and leave on for 10 minutes before washing it off, and it went away. But see, because all this stuff is suppressing. The problem with this, my friend Craig, is that the oils go in, the chemistry goes in with the lymph, and it just all becomes worse. It was like when I was reading where this guy he had an acne or something, using a cream and it would go away, and then it would come back 10 times worse. And that's just what's happening. Suppression isn't the answer today. You would be better to use hot and cold applications. The second time I went, I waited until it got pretty bad, so he prescribed me some pills and the lotion that time. He said, didn't let it get that bad again because he didn't like having to use the pills for it. That's scary. I don't like using these, but you got it so bad. So you really need to detox your lymph system, my friend. You get into those kidneys, you get into the adrenals, you start moving that lymph system always. He also told me at that visit to use a good dandruff shampoo about once a week. Yeah, what is that, Salsin Blue or something? Oh, nightmare chemical. Oh, my God. Now, just remember this. Your skin is an eliminative organ. And when it's upstairs, not good, because this means that all these wastes are not getting out of the head area, and nothing ever good comes of that, my friend. So you definitely want to get these wastes moving. Check kidneys and adrenals. Make sure your urine is filtering. You know, go after what we've been talking about on these YouTubes. And, it's time to go. And get yourself well here, okay? With it, and wash his whole body with it by rinsing it off. So for years I used Head and Shoulders. Familiar with it, and never did see it come back. After going raw 2 years ago and learning about what you put on your skin has to be processed through your smart lad here. Yes, processed through your body organs, absolutely. I stopped using the shampoo. I use Dr. Bronner's, so do I. I like Dr. Bronner's peppermint. I've used that for years. I do like Nav Champra, but I use Dr. Bronner's soap now, and that's it. His condition is back. And spreading fast. This is just your lymph system, man. It's just your lymph system, and you would expect that because you've done nothing but suppress the lymph system, right? I don't want to put Lotrimin on my skin, and I don't want to use the Head and Shoulders either. How can I get rid of it for good naturally? Move lymph, get your kidneys filtered, get your adrenals up. That's all I can say about clean your GI tract up, by the way. Very important to do that. Definitely on your case. I have done a lot of studying on it over the years and understand that it is just a fungus already living on everyone's skin and only comes out for No, you just remember that you have all types of little creatures depending on what type of chemistry is coming out of you. And they can live on the skin, but that's not the problem. It's your wastes that are the problem. Always the wastes. All these forms of acne and all this stuff is just the waste from the skin, guys, or from the cells. And that's all this is. You just talked about this acne before. You want to get this taken care of. And you just detoxify. You can put yourself on Parasite M. But to tell you the truth, you're just loaded head to toe with that. Most people are loaded head to toe with fungus, but it's not just fungus. You can have bacterium problems. I'm surprised he hadn't ran you on a lot of antibiotics for this. But, you can use any of that, but to be honest with you, just move your lymph. Use hot and cold compresses because of what you've been using to suppress this, you could have a pretty good outbreak on you. Don't sweat the small stuff. Get in a bath, do a saltwater bath, that'll help. Get that lymph moving. Your good skin could look a little worse before it gets better, but get yourself on a fruit fast. Get yourself on some kidney herbs, some lymphatic herbs, and some adrenal herbs. That's the best way you're going to get this crane and take care of it for good. I'm wondering if my eating a ton of fruit over the last couple of years is what's feeding, not feeding it. It's not feeding it. It's promoting the elimination. It's what you're just eliminating what you suppressed. You're just seeing what you suppressed. And believe me, you can have tons of this. If you look at some of the psoriasis cases, they can get out, I was telling this one guy, get out like whipping cream. You can get out this nasty, nasty stuff for a long time. Subcutaneous tissues are deep and full. You can have a lot of months of nasty, gnarly stuff. But hot and cold showers, definitely apple, not real hot, but get down some cooling with that. At the same time, get your kidneys filtering. If you want complete remedy, you've got to get your kidneys filtering and get this lymphatic system cleaned up, and then you'll see what. And it's not just a fungus. Fungus. All these the microbes that are involved. They're not just microbes. We get skin mites. We get all kinds of. They're just little creatures eating. We offer the food up, and we are a host for fungus and everything else. They're not the problems. It's their food source. It's their food source that's the problems, my friend. You fix that, and you got it taken care of. All right, this is the one I was going to read because this gentleman keeps asking us for this. I just want to know if your products are analyzed for heavy metals or other toxins, please, especially mercury. You know what? We have all our herbs are checked by the FDA. All our herbs by batches are chemically checked. You can't check every herb for heavy metals, mercury, and things like that. You could never do that. That would be insane. But we do know our farmers. We do know our herbal sources. We do have our herbs chemically checked every so often. And we've given that information out to you. So that's all I can tell you. If you think you're going to check every herb for chemical, metal, and toxicity, you pay for it. Because it's insane. But then you need to check every food that you're eating the same way. Don't just blame the herb. Check your food. We use nothing but organic herbs, and we know our farmers. We know who raises our herbs and everything. So we definitely know as much as you can about that. And I think it's an unjust worry at a certain level on this, because check your foods are so much worse. And when you get organic and you know your farmers, that's the best way to do the herbs. I would like to see more farmers get involved in more herbal growth and growing and stuff instead of so much wild crafting. Wild crafting is going to end one of these days. Matter of fact, most wild crafters at our level of work, because it's an insult if you don't understand our level of work here, but our level of herbs and stuff are way above what you get in the markets and stuff. We live in a whole nother world of thinking, guys, and our herbal formulas and how we make them and everything else. So there's a huge difference in presses and times and things like that. But I'll tell you, most labs nowadays are, even though some use commercial herbs, that's where you really want to worry. It's in your commercial herbs and herbs you don't know where they're from. But you would have to say that about all your foods too, because herbs are just foods like everything else. So you can't just lay that trip on your things. Does all your foods checked? Is every cantaloupe you get checked for heavy metals and things? That's unrealistic thinking. But you can check them by lots and stuff, and that's what we do. We have different lots, and we're always checked by lots and stuff. But the FDA keeps a pretty good tight rein on herbal manufacturing nowadays. Our herbal manufacturer who does ours, friend of mine, he's heavily visited, heavily scrutinized by the FDA. We all done. So that old thinking is not valid anymore about that sort of thing. So I love you guys, and listen, thank you so much for all your questions and stuff. We're knocking it down. I know I didn't get a lot done today, but these questions are pertinent. These are questions. There's a lot of skin issues out there, and so just understand what the skin is, the fact that it's tied to your lymphatic system, of course, and that elimination is just as much as part of the game as nutrition. Love you all. Good job. Each and every one of you. Facebook, I love all of you. Good jobs. You guys are very proud of you. Keep hanging in there and keep helping everybody, because you are changing the world. May the blessings be, and see you next time on the next video. Alrighty. Bye-bye now.